So back, sometimes your camera does that. So back in January, I had the amazing privilege to go to Lesotho, which is a little country inside South Africa. And I got to go on a mission trip there, and it was beautiful. It was so cool to experience that. I saw God do amazing things, which makes sense for traveling across the world to learn things. But I know what you're thinking. You're like, cool, of course you're going to learn something on an international mission trip. But now the world shut down. Now everything went silent. Like, how am I supposed to learn anything? How am I supposed to grow in my faith when I'm so frustrated? But I get what you're saying, and that's very valid. What this message is about is what we can learn and what I have learned and some tips and things that we can learn in this silence. Hey, what's up, guys that I can't see? My name is Ryan Lee. I'm from Texas, which is the best state factually. Remember the Alamo. I am a senior youth ministry major with a minor in theater at Southwest Baptist University. So pretty much how I got that was I figured out what my passions were, which my passions are eating pizza, playing Fortnite, drinking Mountain Dew, and telling people about Jesus. And then I found an age that I could do that to. High schoolers and middle schoolers, they like Fortnite, Mountain Dew, and pizza. Tell me if I'm wrong. And I was like, I'm going to make that a career. And if that doesn't work out, I'm going to pretend to be other people and hope I get paid for it. I'm just kidding. But first thing I want to do is I just want to shout out Brittany Davis. Brittany is the director for this camp, one of the directors for this camp, and also Jessie. She's fantastic. But Brittany is the director for this camp, and I think it's kind of wild how we met. So I transferred into SBU, and I really was just like not sure what to do. And my welcome week leader was actually Brittany. And it was super, super crazy because Brittany found out I was interested in theater. Then she plugged me into the theater, and that's that story, which is really cool. And I'm super grateful. Something else I want to address on a far more serious note is I just want to let you know that if any of you have been affected by COVID that's happening right now, I am so sorry. Like, there's not words to describe how sorry I am that like things got weird, and I hope that everybody's doing okay. I hope everybody's family's okay. And I hope this message brings you some joy and some stuff like that. And last thing, seniors. If you're a senior this year, I am so sorry for you. Losing all the things you've lost, I'm sure you're fully aware of everything you lost. I am so sorry. I know that Facebook's being flooded with people posting pictures and stuff up from their senior year, thinking that'll help you. Obviously, it will not. I am so sorry that you're having to go through this. It's unimaginable, and it's rough to lose your entire year like that. But honestly, there is no buts. Like, I was gonna make a joke about something, but it really is hard. And know that like there are people, like, I'm grieving with you, even though I know, and it's totally valid to be sad that you lost your year. Sorry, guys. So during this literal global pandemic, not even being dramatic, and as we start kind of phasing out of it, people might look to you and be like, how do you have so much hope? How do you feel like things are okay? How are you okay with this happening? And you're calm, you're like whatever. And while you might not be okay with this happening, but you have a hope, and your hope is in Jesus. And so with that being said, we're going to go to 1 Peter 3:15. Feel free to turn there if you have your Bible with you. If not, write down 1 Peter 3:15, like take a note of it on your phone if you're not watching this on your phone or whatever. But I'm going to read that. It says, "But in your hearts, honor Christ the Lord as holy, always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is in you. Yet do it with gentleness and respect." So we're just going to break that down bit by bit. But in your hearts, honor Christ the Lord as holy. So like in your heart, Know that Jesus is holy. Know that he is above this entire scary situation. Know that he's above it. And then when you know he's above it, that's going to show to other people, which is the coolest thing about being a follower of Christ. When you see another follower of Christ, when you see someone being calm and kind and caring for people, you are like, they have to be a follower of Christ. And that's the coolest thing. Next it says, always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you the reason for the hope that is in you. So with that being said, if you're calm, if you're following Christ and you have hope, like you know that something good's going to come out of this, if you just feel that, then be ready to tell people about Christ. That is a perfect moment to start sharing your testimony. Start sharing about what Christ has done for you. That is the coolest moment. In a time like this, where everyone in the literal world is dealing with the same thing, you can talk about how you're okay because you know Christ is bigger than this. Because Christ is bigger than all things. And that's really cool. The next thing it says, yet do it with gentleness and respect. You're not going to tell anybody about Christ through winning an argument. That'll never happen. It just doesn't. Hate and being mean and yelling and all of that stuff will not do anything. If you're aggressive about the hope you have, I don't know that you have the right hope. You have to be gentle and kind and tell people, sit down with them, be like, hey, I know you're scared, but let me pray for you. Let me share why I'm not scared. Even if I am scared, why it's going to be okay. Okay, and if you say, okay, cool, bro, I'd be super happy to do that, but it's going to be really embarrassing or weird to share this hope I have when people are panicking, people's families are dying, and we're really panicking. People are going to judge me so harshly if I come out of this quarantine just smiling and happy. That is valid concerns. But what I would ask you is we're going to go to Galatians 1:10. For am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Am I trying to please man? If I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ. That's pretty harsh. Paul, who wrote Galatians to the Galatian people a long time ago, like 15 or 16 years ago. I'm just kidding. But he wrote it to those people. Like, are you trying to please God or people? And, that sounds very black or white, but that's the truth. When it comes to sharing your faith and when it comes to sharing the stories of how you've overcame this, and this is something that you've overcome, even if you were just stuck in your house for 2 months, that's still overcoming something. And are you more worried about what people think of you or what God thinks of you? And which I've struggled with this plenty, if you're more worried about what people think of you, check your heart, bro. For real. Check your heart. What matters in the end? Because something that I don't think gets talked about a lot is what happens if people don't find Christ. We talk about this freedom that Christ gives us and how happy our lives can be and how joyful our lives can be if we have Christ. But here's the tea, friends. If you don't have Christ, you're doomed. You're literally going to hell. And that is so terrifying. And with a pandemic and people dying, it just breaks my heart because not all those people knew Christ. And that is so scary. And if we learned anything in the wild Jumanji game of 2020, it's that life changes very speedy. We were expecting one thing and we got a completely different thing. And that's the tea. So you just have to think, are you going to walk out of this quarantine? Is your goal to please people or is your goal to please God? And also, another thing, you might think, okay, I wasted this entire quarantine. I had this great isolation time that I could have really focused on my relationship with the Lord. But that, even if you didn't do that, that is okay. Because God, He doesn't care. He doesn't care what you did yesterday. He doesn't care what you did 5 minutes ago. He wants you to run into His arms. One of my favorite stories in the Bible is a story that Jesus tells to some of His disciples. It's the story of the son. It's these 2 sons, actually, and a dad. And one of the sons goes up to the other son, and he's like, yo, Dad, I know you're not dead, but can you give me all your money that you were going to give me when you died? And the dad's like, sure, I guess. And so the son takes half of all of his dad's money, his entire inheritance, and he goes to a wild place and spends all of his money on like prostitutes and drugs. I don't know if it was actually drugs, but like if it was now, it would be. And like all this wild stuff. Then he wastes all that money when a famine comes and he's hungry. He's so hungry. And then he goes and works for a pig farmer. He looks at the food that the pigs are eating and he's like, man, I wish I could eat something that good. Pig slop. I don't know where y'all are from. I don't know if y'all have seen pig slop. It's gross. And then he's like, you know what? I'm going to go to my dad's house and I'm going to try to be a servant. I feel like he could maybe make me a servant and I could at least get better food because my dad feeds his servants better than he feeds this pig. And so he does. He goes back home. And when the dad sees him walking up, he runs to him. He runs to him and throws a party for him returning. And there's a little bit more to that story, but that is what God does for us. Anytime we turn to look at him, anytime we refocus on him, and if this quarantine is anything, it's an opportunity to refocus. When we refocus at him, he is so grateful. He doesn't hold judgment. He doesn't care. Just know that. And that's the cool thing about Jesus, is there's a bunch of passages in Romans that tell us this story. It's that like we are broken. We are bad. You know, we lie, we cheat, we steal, we do all of those things that we shouldn't do. But still, Christ died for us. And all we have to do is believe in him, accept him, and then we have this hope. Then we can climb mountains like a global pandemic. Never in my life did I think I'd be encouraging people to climb over a mountain as a literal global pandemic, but this is a perfect opportunity. You do not know what God can do until you let go and just let him come in. That was a very cheesy let go and let God that all the white moms post on Facebook, but it's the truth. Like, you truly just have to let go and let Christ come into your life and let him lead you. And I know this is scary. I know we don't even know what life looks like. I mean, schools aren't even guaranteeing to come back, and that sucks. It really does. But guys, if you focus on the Lord, he'll be there with you. He will walk with you. And if you astray, which I do all the time, I do it every day, if you stray, as soon as you come back, he'll come sprinting towards you. The creator of the entire universe will come sprinting towards you. And that is beautiful, friends. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much. If you have any questions about anything I said, Brittany and Jesse will give you ways to reach out to me, and it'll be great. Thank you guys so much. Can I pray for you really quick? It's really weird praying for a video, but honestly, I think it's gonna be really cool. Dear God, I just pray for every single person watching this. As I'm making this literally a week before they're even going to see it, God, I pray that every person who's watching this on a screen hears your message. They hear that, like, no matter how good their quarantine was or how bad their quarantine was, they will, if they run back to you, it will be okay, God. And I pray that you open up their hearts to your message. And I pray that you just show them your beautiful love. I pray that you show them this during this scary time, God. Thank you so much for sending your son for us. Thank you so much for saving me. Thank you so much for saving any person that's watching this is saved. And for those that aren't, I pray that you put an ache on their heart that this is a story they need to know. God, thank you so much. I thank you for this entire retreat center and for Brittany and Jesse and them creating this. God, you're amazing. In your name we pray. That was awesome, guys. I hope that I get to see you in person sometime. Have a great time. Bye.